How's it going, everyone? This is Mark with @Tech. In this video, I wanted to show you 4 of my all-time favorite lenses and lenses you should consider picking up for yourself, whether you're into video photography, close-up macro shots, wide angle building shots, whatever it is. These lenses will pretty much cover all of that. So I'll show you what I use and what you may want to consider picking up. So first off, let's start with this one right here. This is a 30mm macro lens. It's specifically made for Sony, but there are of course other macro lenses that are available for Canon or Micro Four Thirds. The thing I really love about macro lenses is not just because you can get close up to something from a far distance. That's typically what they're meant for. Many macro lenses are like 100mm, so you can get very close to something without actually being physically close. As a product photographer and videographer, I love to get close to something, but also be able to get good focus. So for example, if this was my camera right here, I would typically get like this close. And this lens with 30mm, it gets you a reasonably close-up shot while allowing you to actually focus close because it's a macro lens. I've never had much of a need for a long macro lens. For me, I like to get up close and focus close, where a lot of these other lenses can't focus as close, but this one can, and that's why I really like this lens. Moving to this end, we have the Canon 50mm. This is a 1.8 aperture, which is very fast, and this is known as the cheapest, best all-around lens if you're just starting out. It's only $150 or so. You can get about $70 for a fake one, but at 50mm, this is a great photography lens for portraits and anything else like that. It's 1.8, so it's going to give you a very shallow depth of field. And this has the same aperture as this one right here, which is like 8 times the price. So this is a pretty nice lens. It's not great for video. It's not the most sharp you can get. The focus wheel isn't very good. Autofocus is what you should really be using on this. But if you're wanting a shallow depth of field, a great portrait lens, this is a really good option. 50mm on most DSLR and mirrorless cameras is pretty much all you really need unless you're looking into that telephoto range. I don't personally shoot telephoto a lot, which is why I don't have a telephoto lens on this table. Moving over here, we have the Tokina 11 to 16mm lens. This is their older version. The newer ones I believe go to 18 or 20, but it's very similar. This is the lens that we use in the studio all the time. It's usually on our red and you can see the entire width of the studio. Right now on this camera, the Sony, I am using the kit 16 to 50, which is actually fairly wide as it is. This is a great lens for video because you can get a ton of stuff in the frame, but it's also really nice for landscape and architecture photography if you ever need to get a ton of stuff in the frame. As you can tell from the wheel, I keep it at about 15mm, and I never really go 11mm, which is incredibly wide. And it's just ridiculous if you don't have the right conditions. It's so wide. So this has specific purposes of when you'd want to use this, but when it is useful, it's a great lens, especially in the studio where you can see a lot and it's very wide. It's pretty much as wide as this right here. And you can check out our other videos where we use this. It's a pretty nice lens. It's also fairly sharp and it has a decent aperture. It's constant, which is very nice. I love a lens that can zoom and has a constant aperture. Now for my all-time favorite lens, this is the official YouTuber lens. It is the Sigma 18 to 35 f1.8 art lens. It's the most expensive lens on this table, but is by far the best. One thing I wasn't really expecting when I got this was it's actually a macro lens. Just like this one, you can focus on things very, very close, which is really cool. At 18mm, it's fairly wide. The field of view isn't quite as comparable to this lens or that lens, but it is still a very short focal distance that you can get a lot in the shot. 18 to 35 is, I think, the perfect range in a lens. It's pretty much all you really need. And it's a pretty decent all-around, all-in-one lens. Has a constant f1.8 aperture, which I love. f1.8 is very fast, but is somewhat hard to get focus right if you're doing manual. It does have a very great manual focus wheel, and autofocus is decent on it as well. There you go. Those are my 4 favorite lenses. Links will be down below to every single one of them if you want to pick them up and learn more. Let me know if you have any questions. If you like this video, leave a like and hit the subscribe button for more videos like this. This is Mark with AllAround, and I will see you in the next one.